noises.
Hi, good morning, Ugo Dre. We've got Mr. Ireti, Bakare, Yusuf. Good morning, Mr. Ireti.
Who's giggling?
Excellent stuff. You can watch all the mischief and all the hanky panky YouTube channel. Go to youtube.com/smooth981FM Lagos, or just search for smooth981FM Lagos in the YouTube search box. Of course, you can also tweet at us. Just use the hashtag freshlypressed981. And last but not least, send us your WhatsApp messages as well to 0809 40981.
Newspaper, Mr. Ireti Bakare Yusuf on this story. Buhari offers to pay blind corps members medical bills. So, as part of his Salah celebration, where he went to his hometown, the president was reported to have given, medical assistance to a corps member who's a graduate of insurance for the Federal Polytechnic in Offa, Kwara State. He was among the corps members who paid Salah homage to President Buhari on Tuesday in Daura as part of activities to mark the Eid al-Kabir celebrations. Buhari offered to pick the bill for the medical care and treatment of the visually impaired National Youth Service Corps member. His name, Okenala Ahmed. What's your take on this?
That's it.
Yeah.
He's paying for medical bill. It's not surprising. The thing is, though, he shouldn't have to. None of us should have to. If they actually fix the hospitals and actually proper to invest in the healthcare system and the national insurance,
National Health Insurance.
National Health Insurance. If they bothered to fix that, then no, people wouldn't have to wouldn't have to become health beggars, medical beggars, which we get all the time. This happens a lot in the celebrity world. A lot of actors. You have members of your family that come to you, ordinary people, ordinary members of the public, and this guy happens to be lucky. He found Buhari and was able to get Buhari to pay. This is not unusual. Lots of people do this.
You do not think it's a political move?
Why is it? Thing. Can I just say something to you? That's so boring, and I'll tell you why it's pathetically boring. Right. And all of you keep your hands on Twitter and tweet at me. To be honestly, I really don't have your time. Fact is, when I did that documentary on Buhari, yes, somewhere out of the blue, somebody found my number. A gentleman is in university. I think he was in Abuja or somewhere.
Personal assistant, according to this report, the personal assistant on political matters to Kwara State Governor Alhaji Abdul Fattah Ahmed, Mr. Olalikon Alabi, has filed an application before a state high court sitting in Ilorin, seeking to commence committal proceedings against the Inspector General of Police Ibrahim Idris for contempt of court. Why? It's because according to according to him, said the IG disobeyed court orders directing his release from police custody. He's been in custody, that's Alabi, in Abuja since May 30, following his arrest over the alleged link with the Offa bank robbery suspects. What are your thoughts on this?
Okay, so this is another disobedience of court order, refusing to release a person that has been granted bail by the court, by security agencies, in this case the police. And this is another in a long series that we've had. I mean, Dasuki Sambo is still in custody, and so the problem with committal proceedings against the executive arm of government in Nigeria is still the same issue we've had. So even if the court makes an order, the best case scenario is that the court will commit the IG to prison for disobeying court order. Who effects
exactly
that order?
Who does? That's the problem. So the key issue of disobedience of court order, we need to rethink this whole contempt thing. Now, contempt is a procedure of court where it's a means of enforcement sometimes, where a person is at risk of being sent to jail for failing to obey a court order. Now, it could work with regular people like you and me, but for the executive arm generally, anybody in practice will tell you that it is extremely difficult because you need them to arrest themselves, sort of. And it's something that we need to look into. And I want to make a wild assumption, not assumption, I want to make a wild theory here. So we've been talking a bit about state police and all of that. And I'm thinking to myself, if the judiciary had its own enforcement arm, different from the regular security agencies, would it make sort of a bit of difference? Would it? Because right now,
what impact would it have on our judicial system.
Yes, and
Do you
like
see
I
my
said,
point?
that's why
It's
I
a
called it a
wide.
wild
But I
theory
think
at the
it's
beginning.
interesting.
But it
It's
is
a good one.
It's obvious that this singular form of
Yes.
security agency that we
Yes.
have is not helping us in any
It's
form.
an important evolutionary step for
Yeah.
the kind of governance that we have
Yeah.
in this country, I think, so that the judiciary is fully autonomous in all ways that you can
Yes.
conceive of.
Oh.
Yes. Why do you say no?
I
Ugo
just think
Dre?
it's going to be very expensive. I think it's like a friend of mine would say duplication or confusion. I heard that like when government agencies start to duplicate their own confusions everywhere, and then we can produce the chaos. Look, the problem is that we have institutional breakdown, and the solution is not to also duplicate that breakdown. What's just going to happen is that you're going to have the judiciary get politicized as well, and then you probably also have reckless judges arrest people indiscriminately. So there's a reason why you have separation of powers, judiciary powers, and then security agencies go ahead. Right?
But I think what
So
Funmi
what
is
should happen is
saying.
that what we should push for is strong institutions. When a judge passes or judge, probably
Put somebody in
a judgment
contempt.
that person should obey court orders. That's how it should be. And the IG, of course, reports to some. So the person pressed the law. So that's what I think we should encourage rather than
Create a new one.
Well, this is a wild, like we said.
Yeah, well, this case is still in court, and we hope to see that the IG actually responds to the court's request and maybe defends his position. Moving on now to this next story from Premium Times. Miyetti Allah dissociates itself from official threatening Saraki. So a report came out yesterday, caused a lot of uproar. People from different parties actually, giving their voice to this. Now, the Benue chapter of the Miyetti today, you need to leave your position. You need to actually, step down as Senate President. Otherwise, you'll be forced to do so. So the national body, in reaction to this, of Miyetti Allah Cattle Breeders Association, has dissociated themselves from threatening comments by State Coordinator Garros Galolo. According to that statement, they said, well, he's not in a position to speak for the national body. He'll be actually sanctioned for making such inflammatory comments. What's your thought on this?
Flashback a year ago, maybe this probably would have been an issue. I don't think we would have gotten this kind of rebuff from the national body of Miyetti Allah. But it's election season; everybody's getting careful.
Yeah.
Of course, there are accusations already that or suggestions that Miyetti Allah is sort of indirectly connected to the president.
Partisan.
Or partisan.
But the body is claiming they're not
so,
partisan.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. So now, I mean, it's convenient to say that they're not, of course, because we're in election season. So everybody's.
Is that the right word, convenient? Because I think this is fake news. So it's not whether it's convenient.
Yeah, I'm coming there yet. So first of all, I think it's convenient, but nevertheless, it's important that people also measure the way they react to a lot of the information that you see on social media. I think there's a lot of frenzy out there. People just latch onto any statement made by anyone, and then people start going to a state of frenzy. I don't know why. I mean, who is this from Benue State? Why is this person causing a frenzy? Why are people falling all over? Because just a chairman of a chapter of a group, that just came into prominence maybe in fact, months ago, right? Why is this causing a frenzy? I mean, what's the group going to do? Are they going to shake Saraki? I mean, Saraki's supposed to be afraid
because
of the
it is assumed that if a chapter,
president
president,
to every group, anything any group says, you understand? And then it's also important to determine, look, at what point do journalists say, look, this is an official statement from XX body,
right?
I mean, separate that from a statement from maybe somebody or a statement from a chapter. You have to
throw
go
away
an extra mile. Don't
sensationalized
just
comments.
Put the story out there and put a sensational headline so that you can start to get clicks and retweets and all of that and start to cause a state of frenzy. And that's why a lot of us have to be very careful about the things we read and how we react. That's just my
I think what really scares me when I see stories like this is because we're slowly getting away from the whole cattle herding, violence, etc. And when you have stories like this coming out, and you have Miyetti Allah, who, sort of, if you like, there's an invisible dotted line to the president. That's what we're led to believe. Anyway, there's an invisible dotted line to the president, and you have we have all the sort of battles that's going on in Benue State. It actually this fuels those sort of conflicts, and that's why this is extremely irresponsible. That's why fake news like this don't just and let's not be surprised if these fake news are actually being put out and being sponsored by the same people who apparently they're attacking, quote unquote. It's not unknown. It is not unknown. I'm not saying it is, but let's speculate. It's not unknown, and it wouldn't be wild. Not as wild as what Funmi suggested earlier, but you know, it's like the possibility is quite
Yeah, thank
All
you,
right.
thank you, Mr. Ireti.
We've got a few messages coming through very quickly. Let's see if we can go to these. Ian says, so the president has learned these pre-2019 gimmicks. He should function as a president and spare us the gimmicks. He's elected. Is he elected to be showing philanthropic acts? I beg. Next topic, please. While we've got this, MI from Akoka saying, owing to the political climate and proximity of the elections, most things are taken as photo ops and propaganda. I think we should just commend the president for the gesture and keep it moving.
What's to commend?
While Damilola Olawuyi says, we should not conflate kindness and competence. The president's personal kindness moved him to pick up the medical bill of the blind corps member. The president's leadership and administrative competence will move him to build a medical system that works for you and I. Interesting. And someone talking about the frenzy, IK saying that everyone's in a frenzy because the last time this group threatened Benue State, the outcome was clear for all to see. Let's keep it moving.
Thank you very much. This is the newspaper is next. Mr. Ireti Bakare Yusuf, I'll come to you with a story. South Africa jails 2 Nigerians and gives them 106 years jail term for human trafficking. So the South Gauteng High Court in South Africa has handed life sentences and an additional 106 years of imprisonment to 2 Nigerians for human trafficking. The sentences were handed down in Johannesburg. The pair, whose names are Frank Amaku, who's said to be 26 years of age, and Ilo Promise Somadina, 25, were arrested by a group, the Hawk Serious Organized Crime Investigative Unit, in April of 2016 at a hideout. They said they carried out proper investigation and discovered they ran a brothel and held victims captive over the years. What's your take on
Yes,
this?
well, if you sort of Google this story, because in fact the only reason I Googled it because I was curious as to why the victim chose a particular pseudonym, what they call it. It was the nom de guerre, which, if you like, is a pseudonym. Nom de guerre is actually a name that you give yourself in battle, like you know, I don't know, she that slays men or something. I don't know, whatever. But yes, I was curious about the Helena Boswell. I wanted to know, is there any sort of relevance? Well, no, not actually. There isn't. That's why I came across the story, and you find out that the story's actually been going on since it broke in January.
Yeah.
And we're just reading it now. That's interesting.
Because
Nigerian
they
press.
just handed down a conviction, final conviction to the case.
Yeah, Nigerian press. Why? You could tell us this is the update. This is what always happens. We don't get, we either get the tail end of a story, the middle part of it, or the beginning, and we don't get the end. Let's just have the full picture. So yeah, so these 2 gentlemen are actually protesting their innocence. Frank Amaku Promise, Ilo Promise Somadina, 26 and 25 respectively, who apparently, when this girl, Helena Boswell, pseudonym, approached them and said, look, she couldn't get a job, etc., etc., they then said to her, come to our yard, that's come to where we live, in another part of South Africa. We'll help you get a job, you'll have the good life, okay? So the naive girl, bless her, she gets there, apparently she's put in a house with other women. She's then forced to have sex with men for money. She's drugged. And apparently the story also says, allegedly, well, I can't say allegedly anymore, actually, because they've been sent to prove their innocence, right, to keep her peeling. So the story says that they actually also continue to rape her for the 3 months that she's there. So these 2 gentlemen raped her and also used her, as a prostitute and other women. Well, guess how she was able to escape, which is what the Nigerian story doesn't tell you, which is what winds me up about our people. She wasn't able to get access to anywhere. She didn't have a phone, nothing. She didn't know the part of South Africa
which is the usual experience
exactly,
of these kind of people.
Exactly. Guess what? She was able to get her hand on a particular phone. I don't know, maybe somebody left it for, and she sent her mother a text. That's it. That was how they were able.
Reaching out.
She was able to, the minute she was able to send that text message to say help or whatever it is, then yeah, that's how they found them. But the other thing I must say, and I am obliged to say, is that these 2 men are saying, look, in the other story, you have to check in the Google story. Look, the attorney, the prosecuting attorney didn't question the girl. They said he didn't question the victim as to why she thought that they were what's the word, that they were trafficking her, because they're saying they weren't, that she was there of her own free will. So it's interesting. But yeah, they've been sentenced to death. This is, 206 years. What's also interesting is they're two Nigerians living in South Africa, both very young.
Yeah.
And it's not Nigerians that they were trafficking this
And
time.
imagine how many more.
I'm sure there are. I mean, look, there's bad things going on all over the world.
Thank you,
know.
Ms. Ireti.
All right, let's keep it moving, though, onto our next set of stories. Let's talk about these honest security men who returned valuables worth a substantial amount, and somehow the president found out about it. The story is in from the Premium Times newspaper. Of course, I'm going to go to you, Ugo Dre, for this one. It's a very short story, but there was a couple, a returnee medical doctor couple, that had a bag fall out as they were packing all their stuff at the airport. It contained apparently a hefty amount of forex, and these security gentlemen called 90 minutes later, so over an hour and a bit, enough time to plunder, and said, listen, come take it. And when they were all, no, it's cool.
I kind of think that the Buhari campaign organization in some overdrive.
Cheap drugs overdrive as well.
Last 2 days, I feel like, so this is expected. So I think that we should brace up for a lot of stories like this, right? So one thing
Or just avoid them.
Yeah, well,
Yes.
you can. But one thing I've learned these days is that in the days of social media and online consumption of content, people have now understand that if there's a bad narrative about you online, just push an alternative good narrative and let the search engine algorithms decide which ones it's going to pop up first. Yeah. So that's what's happening now. So you're going to see a lot of all this kind of stuff. You've seen the NYC one, you've seen this one. Expect to see a lot more. I think yesterday the gist on social media was Buhari trekking. And you can imagine
I liked that story though. I like the story that he was walking because we know he's healthy. But this nonsense that they're putting out there, I mean, really, seriously.
It's good though, at least for the first time. At least the
Is
president's
it?
coming out to say, oh, look, Nigerians are good. But like, we don't know we are.
Can we just ask ourselves one question, please? How many of us would not collect when they
You
offer?
would take something out of the bag.
No.
Let's
As
go
in,
for it.
no, when they said you want, what is it? They offered him. They offered to
Yes,
give me. I would have taken my reward. I'm sorry.
And I'm saying this is even after people would have taken stuff out of the bag anyways.
Yes.
Yes.
I would
And be
take
like,
my reward.
Are you sure it was there? Are you sure? Good money, really? Are you sure?
I mean, but kudos to the guys though. I mean,
Yes.
If this really happened.
No, actually,
I mean,
if there were any member of my family and they didn't take the reward, I would slap their head.
No, I
Take
think
the
well
reward.
done.
Take the reward. No.
I don't focus of the house. I'm going to let you take us through the story because there's a lot of back and forth here.
Yes.
Sort of what is your take and your understanding of what's going on right now?
Okay. So what is essentially happening is nothing short of personal ambition. I mean, when I first heard the story, and there are three groups or three caucuses in the House of Representatives that are pro-Buhari. And I'm like, I mean, pro-Buhari groups are disagreeing over what? It sounds ridiculous, but basically the entire story is about the complaint of the coordinator of one of the groups, the parliamentary support group, Mr. Jibrin, who has a beef with Jabiya Mila over what he says is the man's personal ambition and selectively inviting members of the House to secret meetings. So in all of the story, I just say that Jibrin is probably vexed because he's had notice of some meetings that were held with Adams Oshomole
Where he wasn't invited.
where he wasn't invited,
Chai.
basically. And he's saying that all Jabiya Mila is working towards is
His personal
ambition to be
ambitions.
Speaker of the House. And although the story says that Jabiya Mila himself has said no comment, it does mention that supporters of Jabiya Mila said this has nothing to do nonsense. What does this mean? We have leaders that I know we don't have issue policy in Nigeria. We don't have political parties that have policies, but we don't even have political parties that stick to themselves, like for the purpose of APC.
Yeah.
We've gone beyond do it for the benefit of Nigeria. What are the issues Nigeria is facing? We know you don't care about that, but you don't even care about your party. I mean, we're talking about Trump downstairs. And the amazing thing is, if you truly ask the opinion of a lot of Republicans, they can't stand the guy as much as the Democrats. But they will stick to him for the purpose of the Republican Party.
Yeah. Because the party has a message, a clear message.
These people
There's
cannot
no party
even
loyalty
stick.
in
There's-
Nigeria
Exactly.
because they don't have ideology. I mean, what is that?
Well, arbitrary tax deductions on their salaries. There's an implementation of a new payee tax regime, and they say it's virtually impoverished a number of the doctors. So the minister has just sort of suspended it for the moment. Ugo Dre, what are your thoughts on this?
Thoughts? I never received a pay slip and you just see like a deduction that you really don't know where it came from.
Yes.
And you're like, you just look at it.
What does this mean?
Like,
Where did you say the money went to?
payroll, like, I was like, where's this?
How did I spend this
Like
before
how?
my salary?
Where is this one for? Who did I offend? So I kind of feel for these doctors. What basically happened was a few months ago, I think it was in June or July, I can't recall exactly. These doctors got their pay slips, and I think about 7,000-8,000 naira was sort of like over deduction. And this guy's like 70,000 naira.
78?
Come on, man. That's over $100 in this time and age. So these guys, I mean, like, they didn't find it funny, and according to them, it was erroneous pay deduction, and then the routes to the authorities, and it was listening to them, and the fact that it had to get to where they had to go on strike was like that's what's shocking, surprising. Like, why did they have to get to strike and to them going on strike? So eventually, I think it's been resolved. Pay is pretty much simple since Jonathan passed the amendment, I think in 2011. It's very straightforward. In the past, it used to be very confusing to calculate taxes. Now it's just very, very straightforward. Allowances are easy to determine. Just get them out of your salary and then apply individual taxes. And I think the topmost tax you can actually pay is 20%. So it comes from 5%, 20%, depending on what salary it falls into.
Yeah.
So it's pretty easy to determine these things. So how they can go ahead and just make a mistake and deduct 78,000 naira of their salary is quite shocking.
Nigerian journalist released from SSS custody. The Premium Times has the story. We're talking about Oriyomi Hamzat, who was picked up in Ibadan. He actually owns the Agidigbo radio station in Ibadan. He was detained at the SSS office in Ibadan and then later transferred to the Abuja office. When they were sort of trying to inquire to understand exactly why he was picked up, it was said that it was because he'd aired an inciting program. Now, I mean, for me, we've seen a number, very recently actually, we've seen quite a number of journalists being picked up, a number of journalists being harassed by the DSS or the SSS or the police or, you know, whichever security agency we want to call it. And it's a very frightening picture that's being painted here of almost a deliberate attack on the press of Nigeria. What are your thoughts on this story?
It is a deliberate attack because the first thing that scares you is the headline. Another Nigerian journalist. It's become a trend, and it's become a very sad trend. They have a regulatory body, the Nigerian Broadcasting Corporation,
who apparently reported, petitioned.
But then, my question is, you know, I'm hoping that the presidency sits down with the SSS and maybe we look at it once again and see what it is they're supposed to do. It is extremely annoying when the DSS goes on here. I mean, when they used to call the secret police, I mean, I don't know how this they are. It's getting ridiculous. Even if a journalist is code of ethics or does something, we have a system in place, and I think this is what happens when we don't fight for one and it gets to our turn. We've seen arrest and keeping while we investigate, and it's something we've complained about a lot. But now it's getting to our turn. Our law prescribes how it should be. You're to be arrested and taken to court within 24 to 48 hours. And not kept indiscriminately. And then they come to arrest you and they destroy your equipment. They arrest your interns. That is pure harassment. This is we are trying to send a message. This is not we want to file a charge against you.
Absolutely.
Things are supposed to be done properly. If you have and this kind of thing is even the investigative, especially the investigative journalists,
because those are the ones being targeted the most.
Exactly, and then you're scared. And it's amazing that this is even the owner. Like, the owner himself will get, and so we have investigative journalists that will go to their bosses with stories, and they'll be like, no,
you can't take this.
You can't do that. My investment, my life
because
investment.
it might ruffle a few feathers.
Exactly. And and you're completely right. The Nigerian Broadcasting Corporation, if their mandate has to do with the independence of the press, they are completely failing at it.
Thank you very much for that. For me, we do have to move on. Our final story is in from the Guardian newspaper. Mr. Ireti, I'm going to go to you for this one. Edo teachers have given the government a 21-day ultimatum over an unresolved promotion as well as other things. That is the Edo State chapter of the Nigerian Union.
Excellent. So very good answer very quickly. Where I totally agree that we need an overhaul, we need to retrain our teachers. What happens is where you are doing a retraining, you actually have an obligation to continue to pay me my salary. That's the long and short of it. Okay, you can say, because we're investing this much money into you, maybe we'll take it down by 10%, 15%, 20%, whatever the case may be. But you actually have an obligation to continue to pay me. So yes, go ahead and retrain, but I believe the state...
We're very sorry that we couldn't get through quite a few of those messages this morning. We just had to get through those stories, but we will be responding as much as we can on social media. At Ugo Dre, that's Ugo Dre of Nairametrics. At Sisioge Lagos is Mr. Ireti Bakare Yusuf, and Funmi Odude is up there for the same name, Funmi Odude. Do stick around though, because up next we'll be talking entertainment inside of the Grapevine and debuting brand new music from Genie Manifest as well as
Pato Rankin.
Keep listening.
Is that our Genie?